Yep, 9 a.m. All right, it is 9 a.m. I'm going to call this meeting of the Codington County Board of Commissioners to order. It is Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I believe Commissioner Waterman lead us today.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, just a reminder, we are streaming live on YouTube. If you have a cell phone, if you'd please silence it. If you need to take a call, if you could step out into the hall, it'd be appreciated. Item number 2, call for public comment. If anyone from the public would like to address the board on an item that's not on the agenda, they can call in. We will still allow that. The 2 numbers are 605-882-6248 or 605-882-6297, and we will address that during the open part of our meeting. Conflict of interest items. Are there any for fellow commissioners?
No.
All right. Item number 4, action to approve the November 15th, 2022 agenda. Motion by Van Duzen. Second by Gable. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. That motion carries. Action, item number 5, action to approve the November 10th, 2022 minutes of Codington
Second.
County Board of Commissioners. Motion by Johnson, second by Waterman. Any additions or corrections? Not hearing any. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. That motion carries. Monthly reports. We'll start with Cindy, the auditor, first.
Turn your mic on.
We have just about wrapped up the election. One of my staff is currently entering the names of the people who voted in the 2022 general election, who voted at the polls on election day. Today, the state will hold the state canvass, and then we'll be able to sort through some things in the back office and get those put away. I do need to thank a lot of people, especially my staff, for keeping us running and keeping things going during the election. And the maintenance staff from other county offices who assisted either delivering things or working on election night. And then especially my precinct workers who sat at the polls on election day. And then we had some Troop 209 Boy Scouts were up here on Tuesday night and helped carry the heavy ballot boxes up. And those troop members were Tyler Assel, Jackson Riley, Jordan Endries, Colton Endries, Jeremy Stout, Jacob Bish, Coulter Kohlenberg, and they had 2 leaders with them, Gail Bish and Brian Kohlenberg. So right now we are getting caught up on property tax levy work and the rest of the stuff that just kind of got put aside till the election was over. These next 4 months will be the busiest months for the office for the year. So just trying to catch back up and get things ready for property taxes and year-end payroll and that type of thing.
All right. Any other questions or comments to Cindy?
In the past, haven't we given that Boy Scout group a stipend?
Yes,
And-
we have, and I missed that when I did the claims.
And
You're right. Yep, we have, and I will take care of that. I forgot to put that on the list of claims, so we'll get that taken care of also. Yes, we have given them a stipend for coming up because it was invaluable what they did. There was.
and I appreciate what they do,
Yes.
and just on
Yes,
behalf of the commission, send out a thank you for all their help, and they will receive some
Yep.
award.
yep, I will look back and see what we did before.
Thank you.
and Take care of that, yes.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Cindy,
Mhm.
I know that this was your last election too. And on behalf of this board, I would like to thank you for all of your years of service and your hard work. I know it takes a staff to run the election, but in Codington County, we're very blessed to have the competent staff running our elections like we have. So thank you very much for your dedication and
Thank you.
making it so smooth over the years.
We try. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
No,
They, the people that work up here on election night just have it down to a science.
Yeah.
They
Thank you
are
for
so,
not making the news.
they are so organized. Yes, they are so organized and.
That's not done by accident,
No.
right? There's a lot of planning and time that goes into that. So
Yes,
thank
and
you.
then my election workers at the polls, I did look back and I actually have an election worker who worked in 1982. We were trying to
Wow.
figure out how long somebody has been working, and that's as far back as I can find. So she's been working for 40 years.
It's incredible. Wow.
Yeah,
I would just
so we
like,
do appreciate it when they say yes.
I would add to that, being able to see firsthand how this all works, and it takes a lot of organization, and Cindy is very good at planning ahead and having things in order. So that's what helps things move smooth.
Yep.
So you do an excellent job, and
Thank you.
appreciate all your years of service, and thanks for letting me have an opportunity to watch it firsthand, because that was,
The only other thing
Invaluable.
I would add to that is I'm still old fashioned. I still went out to the polling. I went out to the extension center and voted. And I do that for a couple reasons, just to see how things are running. Number one, and number two is to thank those workers out there. And I didn't intrude. I just, it wasn't busy, and I can't believe why anybody would not want to come in there and vote from our surrounding townships and precincts, because it's, I mean, it's a friendly place. There's people there to help.
It's bright, it's
occupied,
well lit, it's
Yeah.
clean.
and there's
Yeah,
bathrooms.
yes.
And
Yep.
it's just, I know we had one precinct come in this year that we hadn't in the past, and
Yep.
I had one comment on that, and they, I'm sure will come back in a few days here and say, we should have done that
That's what
2,
we've heard
Mhm.
3
too.
years
Yeah.
ago, so.
Yeah.
Again, that just is all planning,
Mhm.
makes it all come together, so thank
And-
you.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it takes a lot of county employees to make this work, not just from
Yes.
my office, but
Yep.
other offices, so. Yep,
yes, it is, it's cooperation of everyone. And just to that note, Myron, I suppose for some of those smaller precincts, it's a distance thing. So, they
Yeah.
kind of appreciate being able to keep it in their location if they can. So,
but it's a step up from where we were.
yes.
Oh, yeah,
Those old country schools that had no restrooms.
Mhm.
yep.
Yeah.
We did have some of those, and
Well, the good thing
thanks
is
to the
when you,
township officers for letting us move those into the ag building.
when you go to vote, generally, it's just a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
So.
Normally,
Yep.
yep,
But
Yeah.
if you're sitting there for, well, those people, what time they show up? 6:30 in the morning?
a little after
Oh,
Six
the,
Little after
the
6.
workers,
Yeah.
yeah.
When do they get out of there? A little after 7.
7:30, probably.
I mean, that's a long day.
It is a long day, yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
Definitely. All right, well, let's move on then to facility manager with Steve. Morning, Steve.
Good morning. It's
Morning.
been a few
Morning,
months
Steve.
since I've sat here. Yep, I'm looking a little scruffy. I look like I'm being beat up. My wife says I look like a hobo that's all beat up, but a couple of these are surgeries, and I am in with the sheriff's department on No Shave November.
All right.
All right, to start out with, out at the ag building, just some events going on, of course, the veterans, here a week ago. And then also some auctions coming up. There's a turkey bingo going on. And of course, the big event that goes on out there is the Jordan Mack Memorial Calf Show on, November 26th. Government building, I attended a safety benefits conference in Pierre. Went to a couple of the outbreaks, was very enthused about it. Kind of sat in on about claims, plus also on Spearfish doing a safety program that they have started and really driven on doing it, and has really changed their program for safety. Has really reduced their safety program in Spearfish. Here in the building also started to do some stripping and re-waxing in the restrooms right now, and they'll continue with that process as it goes forward throughout the course of the next month or so. Detention center, have had some minor issues with the boilers lately, and of which had a little struggles with some heat in the courthouse here last week, later in the week. So I think pretty well now it's kind of melted and adjusted. Our biggest thing a lot of times in the courthouse is when we have temperature fluctuations a lot. It's hard to control and maintain because the line's got to be bled quite frequently. But now with the temperatures being constant, I think it kind of, should mellow out. All right, Memorial Park, the 22 revenue off of the reservation system had reservations of $173,879. Point of sale, $4,180, with a total of $178,059. I think that's down just a little bit from last year. Of course, last year with COVID, it really brought in a lot of people from like Minnesota when they were all shut down earlier in the year. But I think it was a really good year. Just here a couple weeks ago, planted 10 deciduous trees were planted out there. This is the start of the 30 tree replacement that was done from the May derecho event. I'm going to put some 20 evergreens in next spring when it gets decent. Also have a 9-basket disc golf course that has been installed at the end of October. And tee-off pads will be cemented next year when we set up the next 9 holes.
Cool.
I have been out there now 3 times and played since. Of course, the conditions have been very, very windy when I was out there. We lost a couple discs in the lake.
In the lake.
In the lake.
It's really been windy.
It was windy. But so far I've heard, I haven't found the Facebook page, but here in Watertown, there's a league that goes on and they have been out there also and started playing a few times out there also. So
So it'll be a total of 18 baskets in the
there
end.
should be 18 baskets. Yep.
Be nice.
And might even look at doing a few more later.
So who, with these trees that are being put in, who is funding that or?
This here is insurance
Okay.
money. We had put a claim in for insurance and can get up to so much per tree to replace and so that. And once everything's done, I'll send in the whole total bill into them. And I know we've received so much already that's already returned back. But I know there can be up to more dollars per tree unit. So I haven't got the bill on these trees yet as of today yet. So
All right.
okay, I know the ongoing deal is the Girl Scouts agreement. It's been on for some time. Currently, right now, the papers for the quick claims and stuff has been redrafted because it was put as president and the finance officer is the one in charge. She requested to have that changed. That has been sent out, but I have not received yet the final copy. Hopefully next week. I will encourage it to get it done for next week.
Okay, so we'll just leave that.
Yep.
on. Okay.
Attended the Park and Rec conference at Custer State Park. I sat in on a couple sessions there. One was hiring a firm to improve safety and restoration on Selvin Lake. Improvements were walk paths, parking, lake shore, souvenir store is now in the progress of being improved. The second session was the South Dakota Park and Rec process of making future plans at Falls Park. They're doing they went out and hired a firm and doing a design work, and looks like there's going to be a lot of progress done out there. In the past, that's all it's been is put this here, but they needed to design it to make it good flow. Safety precautions, especially because of some issues that's occurred out there, for falling in. They still want to keep that feeling of having that, but they need, they're designing things for safety, plus get that feel of atmosphere.
So Steve, when they do those improvements, do they get grants through the state then?
That I could not tell you. I do not know how. I would imagine there's probably some, but Sioux Falls has quite a big program that goes on and so that, and so
Yeah.
he never really kind of went in on it. I kind of showed up about 20 minutes after it had started, and so I had to run, and so I forgot
to bring my shirts along, so I had to quick run to Custer to get a couple pair of shirts. Get back where I was at. From there, the following day, we went on a tour and we went to the Buffalo Roundup headquarters, and they built a visitor center there. It's quite a building, so bad. If you walk into Cabela's, it has a whole lot of same feeling as Cabela's, but they give a lot of history. And one of the things that they wanted to have there, they wanted to give about the bison and so that, but they wanted to give about how it started out at Custer State Park. So they gave a lot of history in that building is on Custer State Park and stuff. The other thing that we went to was, of course, the Selvin Lake Restoration. So we had a project and so that, and went and toured that and what their improvements. So they have a lot of, I can't remember, I thought it was over 3,000 visitors per day when it's in the peak of the summer and so that. So they needed, what was going on is their shoreline is getting wrecked and so that, and they need to block off and keep people from getting in certain points of the shoreline and keep it improved. Weed. This year, of all the years, this is the first year that we never completed 100% of all the spraying this year. This was due to very windy conditions the last week of September and the first couple weeks of October. And then a hard freeze in mid-October kind of more or less ended it. There was probably a brief time we could have been out for about 2 hours at the max in that whole time frame. It was really, really tough. So there was 2 townships and about half the state roads that were left to be completed.
Which townships?
Waverly Township and Eden. And then out of that though, there was 554.5 hours of log spray hours, 3,944 miles, 31.25 acres. 2,4-D used 484 gallons of 2,4-D. Tordon, 372.75 gallons. Glyphosate aquatic, which is used for spraying for the county roads on the riprap, 11.5 gallons. This year we kind of added bare ground treatment to those to kind of control for longer time frames. Use 22 ounces of Esplanade. Invoices have been sent out and now receiving a few checks back already on them from the various townships. And then a couple of my staff, spray staff, a weed board member, and myself attended the district meeting in Stratford. I also attended the district meeting in Rapid City and Pierre. Everyone has had the same issue of trying to complete this fall due to the windy conditions and so that. Topics that were there were properly filling out reports, posting for public meetings. There has been a lot of I should say boards that have not put out a public notice. And of course, when they do that, they can't take legal action. There's no public notice. Then there was about grant criteria, weed control test results, and then reading chemical labels, and then a new invasive grass in South Dakota. And this was in Harding County that was discovered this year. It's in Wyoming right now, but they went out and tried to eradicate it. I believe she's going to try to turn around and apply for a competitive grant to help with control measures for future on that. And then, of course, there's looking at doing some bylaw clarifications, changes on the state weed board. It's also sent out the paperwork for the grant reimbursement of $5,100 for this past year. West Nile. a couple of my staff attended the mosquito conference in Aberdeen. And then I also sent in the paperwork for reimbursement for $5,000 also on that. I'm kind of surprised because I haven't heard anything back. I do know that Grant County has already received his check already, and so I need to reach out to them to find out if they got everything. Now the other topic, phones. The phones have been ordered for the VoIP phones. And the installation is scheduled to be November 28th and 29th. And then they will go live after midnight of December 1st.
So that we'll have a phone.
We'll
be working between those 2 dates.
Yep, you'll still be using this one here until then, and then the actual final transfer when they do the porting over will be at midnight of December 1st. And then from there, they have to unhook these phones, and then they'll be using the others. There'll be a little bit of a learn and so that, but all I know is with the sheriff's office, they have no issues. It was pretty easy and
A
simple.
smooth transition.
Yep.
They do this all the time.
All right, any questions?
On the HVAC project for what's going on?
Okay, right now I am reaching out right now to Rod Fortin on some ideas or getting something for possibly RFP for an engineer.
Okay.
But also I have reached out, through a couple of engineers, a resource out of Sioux Falls for an engineer, but I need to ask questions from Rod and a couple of questions. So,
yeah.
So he's following the proper
Yep.
procedures.
so that is what is going on there. I haven't heard anything back yet. I CC'd Brenda on with the email on that, so.
All right.
You're gonna be around after the meeting?
Yep,
Okay, I need to visit with you.
you bet.
Okay. Anyone have any
Thanks,
other questions for Steve?
Nope.
All right, let's go to the highway super.
Thanks.
Oh, hold it. Why don't we do your weed grant while you're here?
Okay.
No, item number 12, action to approve application for the FY 2024 competitive weed grant.
This here is one that I'm applying for. There's been a weed out that was discovered probably about 8-10 years ago out at Sandy Shores. It's called field scabious. I'm applying to be able to go and get a little bit of reimbursement for chemical and equipment, basically UTP cost. This here is getting joint together with the South Dakota Department of Game and Fish. And so that for our in-kind work to help spray this thing. I know the sheet has I didn't realize that part of in the comments and
Yeah.
everything that it's not there. And so bad, it's something that was sent out by the Department of Ag, and I don't know if they realize that when you print it, it don't get everything all on there. So,
On the remarks.
yep.
Move to approve.
Johnson, second by Waterman. Any other comments, questions about this? We haven't received one for a while, so hopefully it puts. us-
Yeah, I applied before for a couple competitive grants in the past and haven't received any. We'll see what happens. And so because it goes through a committee, and so for referral to the state commission.
I know that's just the vote was just to apply for the.
Yep, this
for
is
the
just to
grant,
apply
but it's
for it. Yep.
$4,400 total.
Yeah, total of the grant, but the reimbursement, I can't remember. I have to look at that sheet to see what our share would be back if it would be returned.
Is this something that it's a one and done, or is this would be an on?
I have kind of put it in the remarks, and so we had to be able to go and have on and gone for another year or so. So we had just to keep
Stay ahead
it
of it.
managed, you have to keep active. I do know one thing, they have really encouraged not to keep the program going too long. And so because after a point, it has to be controlled by whatever, that needs to be. Their reimbursement amount would be, if it would come up to is $2,000, what would be reimbursed? The total would be is all the in-kind work and everything in, so. Yep.
All right, so we got a motion, a second. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, now we'll move on to Highway Superintendent report.
Morning, Rick.
Good morning.
Morning, Rick.
Congratulations to you guys getting back in.
Thank you.
Well, first thing, we had all of our sander trucks went out yesterday and moved a little snow. Most of it was just stuck to the road. There was, when you'd like a little breeze, you get no breeze.
Yeah.
And it all landed on the road, so most of the roads cleared up. If the sun could have just stayed out for another hour or two, they'd have been completely clean, but
Mhm.
by the looks of it, we may be going back out this afternoon with that little bit of stuff falling, because I noticed the streets and stuff were starting to get covered over. Okay, moving on. Mowing was finally completed. Our mowers had to take breaks during the time they were mowing because we were a little shorthanded to do different things. And they were able to mow more because of the dry conditions. The crops were taken out, so there was places along old fence lines and stuff that they were able to knock down sunflowers and things like that to catch snow. The rumble strips have been modified. They showed up last week, so you'll have to go over those and see what you think of those.
I was told that they're still loud, but I haven't driven up there yet to take a look at them, but I will be.
Yep.
So
Will
Okay.
they in time, even with the traffic? Will that help?
Yeah,
beat them down.
they'll get beat down. And
You're full of snow now. That'll help.
yeah, we can't blow the snow out of them, so.
I've also noticed that the streets in town are getting smoother too with the snow.
I'm not going there. The guys have been hauling gravel. When things straighten out again, we'll go back to hauling gravel. We still have more to haul. Also, the guys will be going to South Shore, Henry, Kransberg and Florence to trim trees so we don't knock off antennas, mirrors, things like that when we're moving snow. That's something that we do every year. And then we'll move on to taking trees, trimming trees in the right of way that hang out by stop signs, and we'll be removing trees that are in the right of way. Also, we have a pile of trees at Memorial Park that will wait until the ground gets nice and froze, so we don't tear anything up down there in that bottom area.
You remove those or burn them?
We haul them to an old pit and then we burn them. Cause we'll have a pretty good sized pile that,
That's a big pile.
yep,
Yeah.
we weren't able to burn it last winter. Just for the fact that we didn't have enough snow cover. And I like to have at least 2 days when they're not talking any wind.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm sure that the lake residents appreciate you hauling them to another pit instead of burning the big pile right there.
Yep. Yes, indeed. So that's kind of
Yeah.
where we're at on that. When we get a little snow cover, we'll watch the weather and we'll try and dispose of those trees. Also, I want to thank Sarah and Carrie from the welfare office for helping out, being Lori's out in an extended period of time. It's really helped our office out. We went back to our winter hours this week. So we're there from 7:30 to 4, 5 days a week. We'll go back to the 10-hour days around the 1st of May, depending on what the weather's doing. Also, our striping was semi-completed.
Mhm.
We got center lines on everything that was chip sealed. The company that did it had a hard time getting beads, glass beads that goes over the paint so they're reflective at night. And there was 6 counties that only got center lines done. They'll come back in the spring and complete those. So that was there again, that striping company is hired through the state. And then they're contracted out to do, because there's 13 counties in the northeast corner that this company was scheduled to do. And like I said, 7 of them were completed. 6 of them just got center line, so.
Which is gonna mean that it's gonna be even more critical to keep our roadways plowed since there's no fog line on
Yep,
them, so.
yes. But they did do a nice job on the center line, so we do have that. So I guess that's all I have for my monthly report, unless you have anything else, so.
Questions? All right, so we have a couple of things for you, well, maybe just one. Action to approve payout of unused Hall Road restoration funds, item number 8, and Waylon is here to help with that information.
Morning.
Good,
Hi, Violet.
How are you guys today? You know,
good,
Good.
thanks. How about you?
yeah, very good. Yeah, so I guess, I think we've got everything boiled down to the value that was, associated with the restoration project for the Hall Roads, the construction that was, completed by the contractor last year, and then some additional carryover items that the county and that, Skyview Construction, which is a seeding contractor, completed this year. So I did, provide, and I'm not sure if it made it in your packets or not.
Yep.
Yeah.
But a breakdown, I guess, a memo, that I wrote to our contact with NextEra Energy Resources, Tyler Wilhelm. Just stating that the construction is complete, and that this information has been prepared based off of, the road use agreement and what, costs the developer was responsible for. It's broken down to the contract value paid to the general contractor, which comes straight off of the final pay request, that was paid out to the contractor. The value of the chip seal work completed by the county in 2022, which, is a value that was provided to me from the highway department, based off of their costs associated with doing that work. The value of seeding completed in 2022, which is the value that, the county was billed for that final seeding work. Outstanding invoices yet to be reimbursed to the county. So what that is in the road use agreement. The developer and the county agreed that the developer would pay for, all engineering costs associated with, the inspection, the pre-construction, post-construction, restoration, engineering work. I believe initially they, provided reimbursement for some
They started.
invoices, and then, I think what happened was personnel changed on, the developer's end of communications, and those reimbursements ceased at that point in time. So, I do have just the invoices, that the highway department noted were not reimbursed, all in a log that I had also sent to Cindy to show, I guess, proof that those invoices were sent to the county. And then, totaled all up for a total cost incurred by the county. And then the dollar figure, to be returned to NextEra, which is the balance between the total costs incurred by the county, and the original restoration, fund that NextEra provided. So, and Cindy, I don't know if you,
I never
had a
got an
chance to
answer.
verify any.
I never got an answer on the total cost incurred by the county. We had a difference from what you've got listed here. Sent an email out.
Yep, and I believe I responded to that with all of the breakdowns.
I don't think I got it.
Okay,
Um,
I think Rick would have been incorporating that as well.
I have had a few questions from a couple of townships in reference to getting their engineering studies reimbursed. So would this take care of that supposedly?
No,
That
they were supposed to have their own haul road agreement with NextEra. This was just county road.
Sure.
All those townships had the same haul road use agreement given to them to give to NextEra. Whether they used it or not, I don't know.
Right, and I believe the county did not use the one that NextEra provided. It ended up being a combination of language that the county provided
Yeah.
or recommended, and then language that NextEra felt that needed to be remain in there.
So I don't know where the total cost incurred by the county. I don't know where you
Sure.
got that number from. I mean, I can see. Items that you have listed here, but when I look at what we've paid out of that Hall Road account line, it does not reconcile.
Okay,
That was my question. Yeah, you did send this back to me, but it just basically was,
so I think I noted in that reply back that there was that $64,000 change order that had gotten paid twice, and then there was a reimbursement, and I don't believe that was taken off of the total. And because then, right, the outstanding invoices again would be information that the
so
county would have paid, but
I have, claims that we have paid. Totaling $8,096,101.90. So I'm not sure
and so that,
where that falls in your list of numbers here.
so I believe on your list there, you have the contract that would have been paid to Dunick, or the payments to Dunick,
With
which,
payments to Banner, Dunick, and Skyline Construction.
okay. And I don't have anything in here related to any payments to Banner, and so I guess that would be something that would be a difference. This is all strictly costs that the county, I shouldn't say that. The $299,303.68 would have been paid to Banner as a reimbursable item from Next Era, based on the road use agreement that was signed by both parties. And so that includes invoices all the way back to 2019. And that was that, there was an invoice log that I sent along that had the invoice numbers and the value of each invoice that the county would have received and paid.
Maybe we should just
Table.
maybe talk about it and then. So
We can put it on next week if you guys have a chance, right? I mean, is there any deadlines that this needs to be?
So I guess there's not necessarily any deadlines. Obviously, the developer has known that the construction has been done for quite some time. We had communicated back in January that we could estimate the total remaining, or we could wait to pay it out. They were okay with us estimating it. But I think the county was more comfortable with actually seeing what the incurred costs were, which everyone is understandable of that. But since June, I believe they've been aware that the construction has been complete and have continued to correspond with Rick and I to reconcile it, I guess. So, and mostly what we were awaiting was the chip seal, final chip seal cost that it was going to cost the county instead of using the bid price. So,
So we can just bring this back for further consideration next week, take action on it next week.
The sooner the better, I guess. I don't know.
Well, then that's my
There's-
question. Are you gonna order payment immediately, or are we gonna pay this when we do our normal claims?
I would say normal claims because we don't do anything out of the ordinary typically. So that would be,
That wouldn't be until December 13th is the next time we pay.
Oh,
We will
yeah.
pay claims, credit card claims,
It's a month.
and the 911 surcharge at the end of this. Sometime in the next meeting, or probably the 22nd, since you don't meet on the 29th.
Is it a big deal if we, say we do this next week, we pay it right then?
Well, that's what I need to know.
Okay,
Are you, because normally we don't pay
but I know, I get it.
on demand, but
I guess I'm just wondering how much.
if you,
could it
Big
go on with the
deal it
credit
is.
card ones?
yes, it can.
So,
But
we
I
can
need
put
to
it on
know.
the credit card.
I need to
ones.
know what your intentions are.
But our numbers need to match,
Yes,
right?
right.
That's what we
Yeah,
need
that's the
to
thing.
reconcile
That's
is
the most important thing.
So-
to
make
get it
sure.
right.
So,
Get it figured out. If it can be paid during the credit card ones, we'll do it then. If not, then we'll wait till the next claims, which would be December.
I think it's to get the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the two, we'll get it in one of them. And yeah, if you correspond with them, just so they know we're working on it, it will be coming within the next month.
a lot of
Not
big
even.
numbers. A lot
My
of big
thoughts
numbers.
as I was going through this, I wonder how many projects that Excel's been on that they're actually getting money back. Must be some project that we could have.
So I guess going forward, we'll have Cindy work with Waylon and try to get this figured out, and then we'll have it on the agenda for next week. We can put it in with credit card claims or whatever works.
One question, Madam Chair. You were talking about the costs that, I mean, your services are part of this.
Correct.
right? So.
Correct.
Was this reflecting that portion of?
Yes, and so that's right. I don't know that the items that
it's within that one?
Cindy has reflect, I guess, the same things that I show. And I think that, you know,
It's within that 299,000 line. Is it within that or that's?
yes, so $299,303.68 is exclusively invoices from Banner that were to be reimbursed by the developer in accordance with the road use agreement.
So that's all theirs. Okay.
Yep,
Is
and
it-
so
That's not just banners, that's the other also, right?
So- Banner and
There's a couple other.
Banner and then Geotech, which would have been the ones who did all of the pre-construction borings, post-construction borings and all testing for the project. But those are essentially the engineering services associated.
Okay.
So, and to
Well-
your point about the return of funds, if this project would have been bid this year, it actually would have been over that 11,484,000 because of the cost of asphalt.
Yep.
That difference would have made, so it is quite crazy, but.
Okay, all right, so we will put it on the agenda for next week, see if we can get these done. It will be paid during credit card or else our next. Like if we're paying bills rather than making an exception, I guess it's better if we stick to that.
Okay,
All right, everyone okay with that?
Yep.
thank you.
All
I
right,
think,
thanks,
that,
Wayne.
I think that as a board, I think my personal opinion is that the Nextel, Banner Associates have been very, very good to work with.
Yes.
And we appreciate all of your work in getting this project done.
Yep.
And let's hope that next week we can wrap her up.
Sure,
Yep.
certainly, yeah. No,
Yeah, no,
be a good
yeah.
project to put a bow on.
Yep. For
Mhm.
Christmas.
Yep,
Yeah.
for sure. So,
yep,
Yep, that's my thoughts exactly. Banner has done an
yes.
excellent job of looking out for the county's interest
Yeah.
and getting things done. And get it done correctly, so.
Yep, they had
Appreciate
many
your work.
calls up there during the restoration of things that were not happening the way they should, so good thing we had their eyes on this project, so.
Yep, it was a big project.
Well, they are
Absolutely.
getting $3 million back or something like that, only because we wanted to be extra cautious.
We appreciate you.
Yeah.
I
All
don't
right,
think any of that.
Thank you.
thank you.
Yes, thank you. for-
Okay.
Yes, it's rather to be on the long end than the short end.
All right, item number 7, action to approve auditor's account treasurer and note register deeds, monthly fees.
The register of deeds monthly fees for the month of October were $34,524.70. And then you have the auditor's account with treasurer as of the last day of October. You can see there's quite an amount of cash there. It was the last day to pay property taxes. And then the next page, or the fund cash balances report is also included in your report. Which this is probably the time of year that our cash fund is at its highest because of property tax collections being completed.
Move to approve.
Motion by Van
Second.
Duzen, second by Gable. Any questions, comments? Not hearing any, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Item number 9, action to approve a MOU between SDSU and Codington County for the provision of items relating to 4-H in Codington County.
Isn't this
I
a
have,
standard thing we do every year?
I've reviewed this agreement. And it's the same as it has been in the past. They do have a new contact. This Oakley Perry is a new person that maybe was there last year, but he's the one that I've corresponded with in reference to Jody's evaluation and so on and so forth, but everything seems to be in order.
All right,
Did you review it, Cindy?
Nope, it's yours.
Yep, I went through it,
Yeah, I mean, it looked the same to me, but it is your contract, so you do need to review it.
and I'd move to approve it.
all right, motion by Johnson,
One second.
second by Gable. Any comments, questions? Not hearing any, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Okay, item number 11, action to advertise and hire welfare office community care coordinator to fill a vacancy. Sarah, if you'd want to come up. Yeah. Just in
Morning,
case
Sarah.
anyone has
Good
any
morning.
questions.
Yeah.
You kind of announced this last week.
Yeah, so it would just be to replace Nicole for that position, but that,
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Gable, second by Van Duzen, motion by Gable and then second by Van Duzen. Any other comments, questions? Timeline, just tell Phil.
Yeah.
It's just to fill a vacancy. It's not a
Yep.
new position.
No.
Yep.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Opposed, that motion carries.
Thank you.
Sarah.
Thank you.
Item number 11, action to approve purchase of computer equipment for the Director of Equalization Office. That was in here as well. Did Sean want to come in at all or just pretty much whatever we have is what it is?
Yeah, it's what she needs to.
Was this budgeted?
I'm guessing it probably was.
It probably was, because Connecting Point is,
Pretty
Well,
much.
watching.
let's see if we can get her in here to answer those questions.
It's a good idea.
That's
Yeah,
one of
you
the
want to
most-
grab her?
that's
She's just
one of
across the hall.
most misused.
Here she comes.
There she is.
She knew
I
it.
think, I think
Come on in, Shauna.
She heard us talking about her. Huh?
I did, my ears were ringing and I was watching.
Morning.
Good morning. Okay, normally I don't really have to come to you guys to ask for computer equipment. However, we're replacing my GIS workstation, which the file is so big, it actually, I need a bigger computer to actually have it at my desk, so. I worked with Greg and this is the one that we came up with. It's $2,085. We replace it every 6 to 7 years, depending on how long it lasts. I have had one go down and I lost everything.
Oh.
And so we try to make sure that we get this one redone. We're also we're on a 6-year rotation with all the other office computers. And so there's another HP Pro Mini desktop on there. And that's basically what all of our other computers are. That one's only $949.
Budget.
Yep, all
Budgeted
this
item.
stuff is within budget. We are getting monitors, which we don't normally upgrade our monitors, but I've been doing a lot more Teams meetings. And we're doing a lot more continuing ed online. And so we needed a monitor with a microphone and a camera. So we are getting 2 monitors with this also, which we usually don't get. So
So to approve.
Motion by
Second.
Duzen, second by Johnson. Any other comments, questions? Not hearing any.
thanks,
All in favor,
guys.
say aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Oh, I could wait.
Thanks.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that motion carries. Okay, item number 14, action to approve claims for payment.
The claims in front of you today are for the election workers and extra staff that I hired. And then our postage billing also came in late because bill day was early in November. So there are a couple of odd things on there too that got paid, but primarily the election claims are just under $30,500 for precinct workers. Rental of polling place, people to pick up equipment afterwards, and for the people who worked on election night.
Move to approve.
Motion by Johnson.
Second.
Second by Gable. Comments, questions, Troy?
Cindy,
Yes,
29 and 30, that's not a typo. Those are 2 different people, correct?
yep,
Okay.
Yep,
Just
they
making
are.
sure.
yes,
Okay.
yep, thanks, yes.
Yeah,
Well, I just wanted to make sure. It's only 1 letter difference between the
Yes.
names, so I just wanted to make sure it was.
Correct.
Okay,
2 different people, one at the polls and one did absentee process.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
One of them added an M.
all right. We have motion and second. Any comments or questions? Otherwise, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Number 15, action to approve automatic budget supplements.
I don't have anything for 15, 16, or 17.
Okay, and tomorrow is the Sioux Valley Commissioners Association District Meeting in DeSmet. I don't know if there'll possibly be a quorum there.
I'm going.
Location, is it the same?
Says-
that we used before? Do you,
I don't,
okay, let me.
I don't have a handy.
We can probably pull it up.
I was just gonna go to Desmet and see what I could find.
Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
It looks like it's the United Methodist Church, and I believe that's where they've told you that
Right.
number of times, so.
Yeah.
At noon is the lunch,
Meetings.
and I
to
have
follow.
Myron, Brenda, and Lee scheduled to go.
Yep.
And I will bring the check with me, so you just sign it.
All right, sounds good. Any old business? Do we have any new business? Anything for the, I don't know if Natalie had an executive session, if she was needing that today. She's with Sarah. I'm not sure where they went. We'll find out, otherwise hang tight a minute.
Get out of the executive session.
In the meetings.
Well, once we get those
Yeah.
negotiations done, that's the biggest thing right now. No need, okay, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion by
Second.
Johnson, second by Gable, all in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, we are adjourned. We've had a couple